Yes, sir. What's your name?
Hello, Bert Gonzalez.
Hey, Bert. How you doing?
Hey, two questions.
Yes.
First is, when talking about does truth exist?
Yes.
You talked about turning the statement on itself.
Yes.
And my question, though, is maybe that's a statement, or that's a way to disprove what they were saying, or to say, look, when they say there is no truth, that's not necessarily accurate. But are there arguments or other ways to argue that truth does exist? Right? Because you gave us arguments to kind of disprove these statements. But what are the arguments for actually saying truth?
Well, I mean, you could look at claims like, is it true that 2 + 2 = 4? Right. Look at positive claims. Right. Are we in Gastonia? Are we in Gastonia right now? We are. I want to make sure, because I think I got off the exit. It said Lowell or something. Or are we in Gastonia right now? Is that true? Yeah, it's true. I mean, you could just make positive statements about it. Now, there's an argument for God based on truth, and it goes like this: why, say for example, does 2 + 2 = 4? It's got to be grounded in a mind somewhere. Why do the laws of logic exist? In fact, I was at the University of Wisconsin at Madison, which loves the Bible about as much as the University of Berkeley, right? They're very left-leaning. And I had gone through the evidence that God exists. And I said that God is spaceless, timeless, and immaterial. And this atheist got up to the microphone and he said, can you name me anything else that is spaceless, timeless, and immaterial? And I said, yes, the laws of logic. And he said, well, I would argue they don't exist then. And I said, so you're saying they do exist? And he said, no, I'm saying they don't. I'm saying, so you're saying they do exist? He says, no, I'm saying they don't. I'm saying, you're saying they do exist. He says, no, I'm saying they don't. How am I saying they do? I said, because you're using them right now to contradict me. You're using the very laws you claim don't exist. And then he said, well, I would argue then that the laws of logic are just human conceptions. In other words, we just make them up in our minds. I said, okay, let me ask you this question then. Before there were any human beings on the earth, was the statement, there are no human beings on the earth, true? He didn't like that. He finally admitted, yes, it would be true. Because he had a right intuition. What's the intuition? That laws are grounded in a mind. The problem was he was grounding the laws in his own mind, not the ultimate mind. Because before there were any human minds, there were still truths. It was still true that there were no human minds before any human beings existed, right? So that must be grounded in a mind beyond human minds. The laws of logic must be grounded in a mind beyond human minds. Otherwise, you and I couldn't even communicate. If you had your own private idea of the laws of logic and I had my own private idea of the laws of logic, we would be locked in our own skulls, unable to communicate. The very fact that we can communicate points out that there are these immaterial laws that we did not invent, but we use them as a bridge between minds. Those immaterial laws are God's nature. He is the ground of logic. He's the ground of math. He's the ground of objective morality.